Since the end of the 2012 election, I've gotten a lot of requests to really just do a redux on the results, and specifically the questions I'm asked often to address are: where does the conservative movement and the Republican Party go from here? Do they need to moderate in any way to be successful in future elections? And are there any voter groups, demographic groups that need some specific outreach? So really just wanted to take a second and in 10 minutes or less answer that question. And I just got about 3 or 4 points to do that, or answer those questions. First is this: it's important not to over-interpret or misinterpret the results of election 2012. Without a question, it's a win for the president. He won by about 3 million votes. It's almost 51% of all votes cast, and he won. But it's a lot closer than the left and Democrats act like it is. It seems like they're acting like Republicans were in 2004. In 2004, Republicans had won a presidential election in 2000, won the midterm elections. Remember that Democrats lost their midterm election in 2010, and then turned around and beat John Kerry in 2004. And Republicans were saying things like the Democrat Party's dead. They represent an ideology that's way too extreme, and no one's ever going to come back to it. It sounds like Democrats now talking about Republicans, and Democrats and liberals are in great danger of repeating the mistake Republicans made then. So we need to make sure we correctly understand and don't overinterpret or misinterpret the actual results of the 2012 election. So here's how I want to do that. Let's take a look at the actual vote count really quickly. If we go back to 2008, President Obama was able to reel in over 69 million votes. I mean, it was a big election in 2008. If we take him to 2012, just a couple weeks ago, the president was able to reel in about 61 million votes. Just a little bit over 61 million. The president's actual total vote count from those two elections is down about 9%. He's actually decreased in votes. The problem for Republicans was the group that I'm going to call Mick Romney, McCain and Romney. McCain was able to get about 59 million votes, but Mitt Romney was able to get only about 58 million votes, about 1% fewer votes than the previous presidential election. This does not show me a wholesale endorsement of statism and leftism and gigantic government and everything Barack Obama stands for. He got 8 million fewer votes than he did the previous election. What it shows me is a depressed electorate, not a leftist electorate. So much so that in total, there were 8% fewer votes cast in total. 8% fewer people showed up in 2012 than showed up in 2008. That's not an electorate dying for liberalism, that's an electorate depressed. And remember, the president only won by about 50% of the vote. But there's more to that. It's a close election. The president definitely underperformed where he was in 2008, but let's get some context on it. The best context is to look at the last two-term president, which was the president that you would assume is the most unpopular now, and that's George W. Bush. In 2000, George W. Bush pulled in just a little bit over 50 million votes. This is Bush in 2000. In 2004, he got to 62 million votes, over 12 million votes greater than he had in 2000, whereas Barack Obama dropped off by 8 million. And in the states as well, George W. Bush won states he had lost in 2000. Barack Obama only lost states he had won in 2008. 2012, he lost some of those states back, North Carolina and Indiana. So this election is a lot closer than people are thinking. But when you don't have all the numbers, you can overinterpret the results. One last piece of data to make sure we understand that this was not a blowout by any means, not a wholesale endorsement of leftism, statism, and gigantic government doing everything for us. Take all of Mitt Romney's states that he won. If you take all those states and add to them Florida, Ohio, Virginia, and any other state, literally any other, you could add New Hampshire and its 4 tiny little electoral college votes, and the same would work. I'm going to use a state that's less favorable to my own argument, but a state that I think is more important for Republicans to win back, and it's Colorado. If you take those 4 states, I added up the vote total Barack Obama, in total, won those states over Mitt Romney by 405,679 votes. In a very, very real way, this is the difference in the election. In an election with 120 million or so people vote, that is the difference. Mitt Romney was that close to being President of the United States. In any other talk of any kind of blowout, mandate, the death of the Republican Party that can't get any votes is absolutely absurd. The Republican Party's got 48% of the national vote. They did pretty well. Now, granted, they also underperformed from McCain to Romney, but just by 1%. Democrats dropped off by quite a bit. So, I use all that data to answer those questions. Does the Republican Party need to moderate? Does the Republican Party need to change? Or the demographics going to kill them? Do they have to do some special outreach? And I say, no, not yet. I'm not convinced of that. When I look at the data, it does not currently give me that conclusion. But I need to give at least a test so that I can be proven wrong. And here's where I stand. In 2008 and 2012, Barack Obama was on the ballot, and Democrats won. In 2009, in these odd-year elections for Virginia and New Jersey when they elect governors, Republican Bob McDonnell, Republican Chris Christie win governorships. In 2010, Barack Obama's not on the ballot, and Republicans absolutely wipe the floor with Democrats across the country and win big in 2010. We have now, coming up in 2013, another Virginia and New Jersey governor's race. New Jersey's always an outlier, it's a blue state. Virginia's a good test. If I find in 2013 that those voters that showed up for Obama in 2012 show up again for whoever the Democrat is, and Republicans have a pretty good, strong candidate, and somehow a legit swing state like Virginia goes blue again, I'll admit it. I'll back off and say, yes, there's a major demographic shift. Republicans have to change strategy. But if we return to that equilibrium and Republicans win in Virginia, for that matter, win in New Jersey, and then we get to 2014 in the midterms, and Republicans are again winning, then we can declare Barack Obama is an anomaly. There's no one like him. He animates and activates voters that are never activated. He does. I mean, when you're guaranteeing free stuff to people, it does pretty well. I mean, Mitt Romney was running a campaign trying to offer jobs to a country that, for whatever reason, in the culture right now, doesn't want to work. It's hard to offer a jobs program to a guy who'd rather just get stuff for free. And that was the hard sell Mitt Romney had. Barack Obama's offering free everything. It's going to be a hard sell, plus he's just a special guy. He's a special politician. So until they show me they can translate all of the enthusiasm Barack Obama builds into actual votes in other elections, I'm going to declare Barack Obama to be an anomaly and say no, Republicans don't have any particular reason why they need to be moderating and moving around on any particular position. Maybe the only thing, because I feel like a path to citizenship or some type of amnesty is inevitable for illegal aliens, maybe go ahead and jump on. But beyond that, no. This election was way too close than to think we need some sort of existential freak out in the Republican Party and conservative movement and think we need to change everything we did. Guys, we just won a gigantic election 2 years ago, all over the country in the midterm elections. We're going to be fine. We'll win elections again. Quit freaking out about this result. We'll go to war for these next 4 years, and we'll see what happens in the next one. But to answer those two direct questions, do Republicans need to moderate? Do they need to do any special outreach? Until I see some data that otherwise indicates that to me, the answer is no. Thanks for the questions, and thanks for listening.